I'm Ashley. This is my van, Barb. I grew up in Florida, but I bought Barb about a year ago in Colorado, and I've been living in her full-time for 6 months. I've wanted to live in a van or live nomadically since I was in high school. I came up with excuses when I left high school, wanted to go to college, wanted to get a job and do all the normal things that people want to do, and never thought I would have the money or anything, so it was just kind of a dream I kept pushing off. I worked 2 jobs in Colorado that were seasonal, so I got a break in October, which is also when my lease ended. So I found a van, my job was in transition, and my lease was ending, and it was just kind of a now or never time for me, so I took the opportunity. So I am standing in my kitchen area. As you first come in, I've got some storage for all my shoes and stuff. Obviously this is where I'm getting in and out, so sit right here and put my shoes on. Keeps them really nice and organized for me. I've also got some wine down here. That's where I stored that so it doesn't roll around. You learn very quickly in the van life or the mobile life that things are going to move around as you move around. So I started storing my wine bottles in those pockets. Same with my shoes that kept kind of rolling around. And then as you slide over here to the kitchen, most of the storage in my van is for clothes or food. So everything here is food. These non-slip grip things are great for the van life. I used to put things on my counter and make a turn and everything would just slide off. So I've upgraded to that. That helps everything stay on the counter. So I have a stovetop or a little 2-burner stove that I keep under the counter. Right here, it's a little propane one. And I pull it out and just pop it up right here. This attaches with, I don't know what you call these, but it attaches to there, and it's just a simple little thing. You can use both burners at once. I don't do a lot of crazy cooking, so I usually only use one, but that folds out if you need to use 2. Basically everything in here is more of if I'm having a friend come stay or multiple people in here that I'm cooking for. That's all the backup dishware. I usually use the same stuff over and over again, but I've had up to 9 people in this tiny little van, so when I've made food for a couple more people, we dig into there. On the other side of this, it's kept on by magnets here, but sometimes when I drive, the magnets aren't as strong if I'm going over crazy roads, so I also use the rug to hold that down. And I just flip the rug to the other side. And so over here, more snacks. Lots of snacks. This is my water tank. It holds 7 gallons. There's a little part in here, this goes up to my sink. So this nozzle doubles as a portable outside shower. So sometimes I'll take this tank outside and shower if I am not able to get to a real shower. This little black cord that comes out just attaches to a little remote, and you just power that on and off. So that's what that black cord is. This is a 5-gallon bucket for my gray water storage. I've never filled it that much. I usually get to dumping that as often as possible, but because my tank is 7 gallons, I wanted to have close to the same amount for my gray water. It really depends on what I'm doing. I don't cook and do dishes as often as most people. I like to keep my water use pretty low. I would say once every 2 weeks I'll kind of dump it, and it's not full. I just dump it when I get a good chance to, in a good area. So this is my pots. I have it so that one of my pot handles sticks up just in case I were to go somewhere and this was gonna slide out. My handle holds it under the ridge there. So to get that out, I just pull there and I wiggle it out. And then that's all my pot storage. So this tiny first cabinet here is all of my bathroom stuff. I keep my makeup, my shampoo, conditioner, body wash, all the toiletries get hidden up in that little spot. It's really convenient. I used to have tons of drawers and the mirror shelving and stuff at home full of all kinds of crap in the bathroom, and it's funny to me that I can now fit it all in one tiny little box there, so it's nice. So I do have a little cooler. It's called the Kululi, I believe. I'm not exactly sure what size this one was. It runs off of 12 volt, so it's tiny. It came with shelves and everything. I took them out just because it was easier to fit different size objects in there, but I usually go through my fresh foods as quick as possible so that I don't have to drain my solar with that. At times when it's cloudy for a couple days or it might storm, I'll just fill that thing with ice and use it like a cooler. But yeah, that's all my fresh foods. It only pulls about 40 watts and it gets cold. Like, it'll get ice on the back of it, so it'll get really frozen. So then if I need to unplug it for a while, it will stay cool and hold its temperature for a while. I have thought about getting a cooler and putting it as my center console, but it hasn't disappointed me yet, so it stays. So this is my bedroom, living room, dining room. This is where the magic happens. I feel like I'm on MTV Cribs. But yeah, so this is where I do most of my hanging out. I have my typewriter with me, my ukulele, all of my writing necessities and books. I keep a good little storage of books along here, and my tablet to do my Netflixing. And then all the paper that I type on my typewriter, and all my arts and crafts stay in this area. So it's my sleeping and my leisure area here. I really enjoy my corkboard. It was one of my favorite things to put in. It just made it feel a lot more like I was still at home, which it is now home. Being able to see like all my friends' faces and keep up to date. Like actually today is my friend's wedding, so got that on my calendar so I don't forget to wish them a happy day. I have a light in here that's just a little lamp, and this is what I use most of the time. It just shoots up towards the ceiling and kind of spreads across, and it's just a really dim, I don't like a lot of bright lights, which is what these guys are for. And they were in here when I originally bought the van. They're super bright. It makes it like really nice in here actually, and these along the center are lights as well. I'll turn this guy on when I'm cooking sometimes because I don't have a light in that area, and that's directly over the kitchen. This little panel sticks outside of my window and the cord runs up, and I can plug these guys in, and they're nice. They've got 2 levels, and they're just always charged and ready to go. And I've got one hanging on each side, and both the panels just hang out those side windows there. So those have been really helpful. My bed is exactly like this all the time. It's super comfortable. I got I think it was a full-size mattress that I bought and then just cut it to size. It's a foam mattress. I have under here, so there's the plywood and whatnot that it's on. I cut a couple hinges in the back that I could lift so I could get under there if I needed to reach for storage, but I didn't really use them. A lot of the things that I thought would be kind of handy when I built it ended up being unnecessary. So it's really simple just to get under my bed and get to all the storage that way rather than lifting the mattress like I thought. Under the bed is my clothing storage. These shelves are actually my favorite thing because I'm not a very good builder, but I made these and I was very proud of them. And this shelf in particular is my favorite because it holds all of like these photos of my family and friends. I like to just keep that tight up at night so that none of my light leaks out if I'm staying in some residential areas, but I just pop this out of the holes and set it down here. So when I'm parked up against the beach or a lake or a beautiful view, I just lay back in bed with my typewriter and stuff, and I just look out on some of the most gorgeous views you've ever seen. This is definitely my favorite spot in my van. It's awesome. A lot of great photos of like just laying back right here. So I have the Goal Zero Yeti 400 power station. I personally didn't know enough about power and running my own battery and inverter and all of that stuff, so I wanted to go as simple as possible for me. I trusted Goal Zero in that brand, so that is kind of what I went with just because I knew them. It's got the 12 volt, the USB, and your AC cords there. Super easy to use. All I do is plug it in with this one cord. This one cord is running through the back and up onto my roof, where the 100-watt solar panel is. The Yeti 400 is just does it all in one. All you have to do is plug it in. It has little buttons on the top of, so you can turn just the USB on, you can turn it back off. So you can turn everything on separately, which is also something that I liked. And on the display screen here, it tells you exactly your input and output watts of what you're getting. And it's got your little battery level on there as well. So it was just simple, easy. I think it might weigh like 40 pounds, but other than that, it's the easiest way for power. Another reason I got it was if I ever need more power, you just buy another power station and they link together. So there's ability to get more if I needed to, but this has been perfect. The only thing that really takes up a lot of power in my van is the refrigerator if I have to run it for a long period of time. But for the most part, it's just my phone that I charge and my laptop that I plug in every now and then. I've always had like full power. I built this table kind of as a last minute thing before I left, just to have some extra counter space. As you saw in my kitchen, there's only so much room. So this is just a really easy, it's just a small piece of wood, and these two collapsible, they're a little collapsible, you just push the button and they go back down. And yeah, it's just to have some extra counter space. Sometimes when my doors are open the way they are now and I'm hanging out outside, it's a nice little spot to put some stuff on. So I actually use it a lot more when I'm in bed, and I'll have like books of stuff, and just because this is a little far when I'm laying in bed, it's a lot easier just to throw some stuff on here while I'm laying there for the extra space. Yeah, it's like a little desk. Now we're at the back of my barb of my van. I've got a lot of under the bed storage, as I mentioned. So I made these legs and compartments based off of the size of my clothing bins that are up front, and the rest I kind of just worked into it. This whole area on this side, besides these heels, is kind of like my active stuff. I have a big backpacking bag right here that has my tent, hammock, all of the camping supply is in that. I actually have my snowboarding gear under here. So I have my helmet, goggles, snowboarding boots, my actual snowboard slides perfectly along this storage here, which is another thing I built my bed to. So the length of my bed going that way is just so that my board could fit perfectly under that side. Another thing that I had to measure perfectly was standing in my van. So a lot of building my subfloor was not building it too thick that I would have to start to crouch. The ceiling in there slants backwards, so I can stand in my kitchen area, but as I get towards my bed, I have to start to duck, which is something I had to think of. Depending on how you have to park, sometimes that window is amazing, and also opening the back up. I had these back doors open just a week ago to like the ocean in Big Sur, and just was watching dolphins in the waves just chilling in my bed. So this is perfect. Oh, yeah. So I have a little emergency pee bottle in there with a funnel. Haven't had to use it that often. I usually try to park somewhere that has a bathroom nearby, but I've just kind of gotten into a routine of knowing what time I wake up and go to the bathroom. Anytime I'm like out in public, I use the bathroom as often as I can before getting back in the van. It's just kind of something you learn to do. I personally have a gym membership to 24 Hour Fitness because I do like to work out, but it also gives me a spot to shower and go to the bathroom at any time. So there is some insulation here. When I bought it, it was already insulated for the most part within like the ceilings and the walls. Unfortunately, a lot of my vehicle is still windows, so it does get cold in there, but I like being able to see outside and stuff, so I didn't want to block any of those. And I've also got some insulation, just a thin layer under my subfloor. When I was staying put for a while, I was in an area that was walkable, so I would go like a month and a half without really having to put much gas in her. But then as you kind of travel and you get up in the mountains and doing a lot of back and forth stuff, I start to fill it up maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe. And I use my passenger seat kind of as like a transition to throwing things out of the car. If I move them up here, it means I don't ever touch them, don't ever need them. So then when I get to like a thrift store or something, I just dump that stuff, and I keep my dirty laundry up there. That way it's just kind of out of my way in the back. Living in a small space, I still pile up my clothes and things go in the wrong place all the time. So dirty stuff comes up here, so it's not getting mixed up with all the clean. Thank you guys for checking out my van. I also wanted to thank Tiny Home Tours for letting me share my van with you guys. You can follow me on Instagram at amuller, which is AYYMULLER. From there you can see my other accounts. I've got a writing account where I type poetry from my typewriter, and Barb has her own account that we're working on being better about keeping that updated. But that's at Oh the Places Van Will Go is hers. So we'll be posting more on there about all of our travel. So come check us out.